If you'd like to, this morning you can start out on your back in a reclined position. If you'd like to be in another position, please go ahead and find a position that is supportive of you right now. Take a few moments to get settled wherever you are. And we'll spend a little time breathing together as we settle in, as we get centered. So we'll start out with a few longer, deeper, more purposeful breaths. So breathing in through the nose, through the mouth, whatever is comfortable for you. Breathing in. And then breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. Longer, deeper breaths, breathing in, and breathing out, breathing out. And as you breathe out, letting go, letting go, letting go. Taking those purposeful breaths, a few more rounds, letting go, letting go. Allowing yourself to return to your natural breath whenever you're ready. Sometimes I need a few more rounds of the deep breathing to get settled. But whenever you're ready, settle back into your normal breath. And just simply notice what that little bit of deeper, more focused breath did, if anything. Noticing any changes in the system. Continuing that mantra of letting go. Letting go of tension and effort in the muscles. Letting go of tasks that need to be done, of things that were done before. Drawing the attention to the sensations as they are right now. Places where your body is making contact with the mat. Experiencing the breath from the inside out. Letting the concentration and effort be focused there for now, on the breath, on the letting go. When you're ready, we'll begin to add a little bit of movement to our mindfulness. So we're going to take the arms and bring them up so that they're stacked on top of the shoulders. Find a neutral spine and plug the shoulder blades kind of down onto the mat. Lengthen through the back of the head. We're going to take some small circles with the arms overhead. Eyes can be opened or closed. And those small circles can just kind of melt the shoulder blades or plug the shoulder blades kind of back down into their sockets. Shoulders back into their sockets. Heaviness. Lightness through the fingertips. And then reversing directions. And as you move, perhaps invite the mindfulness to come along with the movement. So the sensation perhaps of air on the fingertips, coolness, heat, warmth, tingling, whatever is there. And then settling the arms back into stillness, plugging the shoulder blades back down, and then lifting the shoulder blades up. So reaching the fingertips up towards the sky, shoulder blades lift a little bit, and then exhale, plug them back down. So small range of motion. We're going to be working quite a bit today with upper back, shoulder strength, and mobility. So just taking that a couple more times, small range of motion. And then we're going to open the arms up to the sides, feeling the chest expand. And then exhale, let's just cross the right on top of the left, and you can take the hands and kind of walk them like almost underneath the underarms, and take the skin and just kind of pry it away, creating a little bit more space through the upper back. Feeling that stretch there in the upper back. And then tucking the chin and lifting the shoulder blades, kind of coming into a mini crunch, but also an upper back stretch. Lifting that upper back up off of the mat. And exhale, lower back down. From here, we're going to take the arms back wide again. And then exhale. This time you can take the left on top or the opposite on top. Taking those fingertips and kind of drawing the shoulder blades away from one another, creating that stretch in the upper back, lengthening through the back of the neck, finding your neutral spine. Just breathing into that space in the upper back. And then again, we'll find that mini crunch. So lifting the upper back off of the mat, lifting the shoulder blades, continuing to separate the shoulder blades, engaging the core, tucking the chin, and lowering back down. From here, we're going to take the elbows kind of into goalpost elbows. So goalpost arms, elbows extend directly out from the shoulders. Elbows are bent, palms of the hands up towards the sky. About shoulder level for the elbows. And then we're going to take the right hand and just rotate it down. So the palm of the hand is down, that whole forearm rotates down. And then we'll switch. We'll take that right hand back up to the goalpost arm, and we'll rotate that left shoulder, left forearm down. And just kind of continue that at your own pace, just kind of being curious of the range of motion, the felt sensations in the body, not taking it or forcing it any further than the natural range. So if the forearm doesn't touch down, totally fine. If the hand doesn't touch down, totally fine. Simply experiencing that range of motion as it is. And then coming back to center, reaching the arms back up again, we'll take some rotation with the wrists, spreading out the fingers, kind of making it a bit organic and playful in your own range of motion. You can switch sides whenever you want to. You can flex and point if you want to. And here, if you feel so inclined, It's a nice time to think about the hands and all that they do for us, all that they've done for us our entire lives, and express a little gratitude and wonder of how actually amazing they are with all of their bones and muscles and everything else that's going on in there. And releasing that movement of the hands when you're ready, we'll hug the knees in towards the chest, taking a little side to side or finding neutral. And then just taking a moment here of flexing and pointing the feet. You can move them in a circular motion too, or side to side. Maybe you're hearing some cracking or popping, noticing that. And similarly, if you feel inclined, just taking note of the feet and how amazing they are and all that they do. These little tiny things that support our entire body. Well, mine are quite big. I actually wear a size 11, but needless to say, still proportionately quite small. And letting the feet settle back to stillness. From here, we're going to plant just the left foot, and we'll take that right leg and take a little stretch through the hamstring muscles. If you want to bend and lengthen, you can. If you want to pull in towards the hip crease, feel free to do that. Just exploring that a little bit on your own, what kind of stretch feels best there right now. And then we're going to leave that right leg extended. Take the arms back up overhead, palms of the hands again facing towards one another. Shoulder blades neutral, so they're kind of plugged in rather than lifting up. And then from here, we're going to reach the chest and the arms kind of up directly above us, a little bit forward, but mostly directly above us. And start to engage the core here. Take a breath, pull the navel in towards the spine. Chin can tuck a little bit to support the head. And then exhale, lower back down. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift, squeeze the belly. Inhale at the top. Exhale, lower down. And we'll take that one more time. Inhaling at the bottom. And then when you're ready, exhaling, squeezing and lifting. And on the next exhalation, lowering back down. And we'll release that right leg and take the left leg up for a stretch. Feel free to rotate the ankle a little bit, bend and lengthen the knee a little bit. Play around with how that stretch can be most supportive to you right now. And maybe it's stillness, maybe it's movement, maybe it's different than the other side. Really plugging that right foot down, releasing the hands from the left leg, taking those arms overhead. First, finding that neutral upper back. And then as you exhale, lifting and reaching. If you had a block, sometimes I do this particular exercise with a block, reaching it up. Not that it adds any weight, but it's just something to focus on. And then releasing down from that. Inhaling to prepare, exhaling to lift. And on the next exhale, lower down. And then one final time, exhaling, lifting, squeezing, finding that little tuck in the chin. And lowering all the way down. Hugging both knees in. And we're going to take both knees over towards the right. And from here, right arm can kind of just be reaching out in front of you. We're going to take the thumb side of that left hand and kind of trace it and like a half circle or a rainbow, trace it along the floor kind of around you until it becomes even with that left shoulder, and then trace it back up. And if it's not touching the floor, that's totally fine. It can hover above the floor. Taking that a few times in your own pace, your own range of motion. You could take it a little lower down from the shoulder if you want to on that left side. And then the next time that the left hand is reaching over towards the left, you can keep it there, and you could take your right hand to your knees and take it into more of a traditional twist, taking that gaze out over towards the left side, applying a little pressure to the right outer knee or outer hip, thigh, just to get that rotation and twist through the upper body. Feeling the expansion through the chest. And then taking the right hand so it's pretty much level with the right shoulder. And we'll exhale, take that left hand to meet the right, and then inhale, open back up. Taking that a couple more times. Excellent. Coming back to center, and we'll rotate those legs now over towards the left. Right arm can stay reaching towards the right. And then we'll take that left thumb and trace it along up. Oops, I'm sorry, that's not the right thing. Take the right thumb rather and trace it up and over. That didn't feel right. All the way around, kind of in that half circle. And again, if it's not touching, that's totally okay. It doesn't have to touch the floor or the mat. You can kind of hover above it. You're just kind of carefully, curiously exploring that range of motion in the shoulder as you trace that thumb down and around. And then the next time it's reaching over towards the right, you can take that left hand and press it down on the left knee or left outer thigh as you take your twist, gazing out over the right if that feels good. Breathing here. And then we'll take the gaze out towards the left. Exhale, take the right hand to meet the left. And inhale, open back up. So that arm is just kind of going open and shut. Like a big giant book. Opening the chest and then stacking the shoulders as you close. Gaze can come along for the ride if you'd like. And then as you're ready, rotating back to center, maybe hugging the knees in towards the chest again, or taking any movement that you'd like to on your back as we begin to transition up to a seated position. You can find a seated cross-legged position if you'd like here. Sitting up nice and tall, hands can come to the knees. We'll take a few rounds of seated cat-cow. So we're starting to tuck the tailbone under, round the upper back, tuck the chin, and then inhale, lift the chest, open the heart, gaze can come up. Taking that at your own pace in your own time. Again, just feeling those felt sensations in the body as they occur, an invitation to be here and an invitation to let go. And the next time you find yourself in that tall, upright posture, staying there, taking the left hand over towards the left knee or anywhere that you want to rest it. We'll take the right hand and just kind of push the heel of the hand away from us and take that left ear and draw it over towards the left shoulder. Now, if you want to here, you can kind of sway that left heel of the hand and see if there's any spaces that you can access just for a deeper or more sensational kind of experience. If you prefer to stay in stillness, stay in stillness. And then replace that right hand. Take that right ear over towards the right shoulder. And we'll take that left heel of the hand and press it down, getting a stretch for the neck. And then perhaps adding that bit of movement with your left hand, exploring the range. Feeling the sensations as they occur. And then coming back to center, taking the head back on top of the shoulders, back in that neutral, upright, tall position. And we'll take the left hand over towards the right knee, and we'll take the right hand behind us, opening up the chest for a twist. Neck is neutral to start, and then we're going to take the gaze out over the left shoulder as we reach the right shoulder back, getting a kind of different stretch for the front of the chest, the neck, releasing tension from the jaw if possible, keeping a very neutral and lengthened spine. Continuing to encourage the right shoulder open. And then nice and easy, taking the gaze back to neutral, taking the head back to neutral. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up. And we'll exhale, take that twist in the opposite direction. Finding your lengthened neutral spine to start. And then beginning to take that gaze out or the chin out over on top or near the right shoulder. Continuing to keep the collarbone and chest broad, encouraging that left shoulder open. Nice and easy through the face muscles. And then exhaling, taking the chin back towards neutral and gently untwisting. From here, we're going to take the right shin, and if you want to stay cross-legged, that's absolutely an option. Otherwise, we're going to take the right shin forward, so it's pretty square towards the top of the mat. So the knee and ankle are in alignment with one another. And then we're going to take the hip, so it's pretty much in alignment with that right knee. And then we'll take the left leg back so that the left knee is kind of in line with the left hip. And then, and again, if this is bad for your hips or your knees, please feel free to stay cross-legged. Either way, we're going to hinge forward and just experience that stretch through the hips, trying to keep the chest pretty neutral towards the center of the mat, center of the right leg. Breathing here. And then from here, we'll begin to take the hands back behind us and kind of lift a little bit through, or press a little bit through that left hip, reaching open through the chest, open through that front body. Some people may like to come down a little bit further on forearms. For some people, that's going to feel like way too much on the hip. So just want to give you options. Don't feel like you have to take all of them. And then from there, we'll simply switch sides. So taking that left leg forward. So this is kind of like knee, ankle alignment, knee, hip, ankle alignment on both sides as best as possible. Mine certainly are not perfect, but that's what I'm aiming for anyway. And just shift around a little bit to make it accessible. If it feels like the shin needs to be placed a little bit at an angle or the knee needs to be placed at a different angle, shift around to make that accessible. And we're leaning over. Again, you can do this from a cross-legged position. I would just say if you're doing it from the cross-legged position, switch the legs so that you're in the non-habitual leg forward. Folding forward here in any amount. Taking a couple more breaths. And then taking that range of motion back and getting a real openness here through that right hip flexor muscles. Chest can lift, or you can kind of come back and lean back into it a little bit more, getting that stretch through the quadricep muscles and hip flexor muscles in that right side. And then coming back forward and shaking that out in whatever way you'd like to shake it out, and making your way up to a standing forward fold whenever you're ready. Softening the knees as much or as little as you'd like to, finding length in the spine, and maybe even imagining that there is a magnet at the crown of the head, kind of pulling you down, weighting you down as you continue to find that length in the spine and that hinge at the hip. On the next inhalation, we'll take a halfway lift for flat back, reach the chest open. And then exhale, fold forward. Take some softness into the knees, root down through the feet, and articulate up to standing, reaching up here. And exhaling, releasing the arms down. We'll step wide on the mat so that the toes are angled out and the heels are angled in. Reaching the arms up, you can take the hands kind of like diver hands, kind of hook the thumbs, reach the hands up. And then as you bend the knees, articulate the spine, dive down. And then inhale for goalpost arms, open up. Exhale, push up, articulate down, bend the knees, inhale, open the chest. And then taking that at your own pace, diving down, keeping the bend in the knees, opening up, pressing through the feet, feeling that range of motion through the spine, the chest, feeling the strength in the legs. And then maybe taking that one more time. And we'll meet in the standing position with arms up. Taking the left hand down, we'll reach the right arm up and over. Tucking a little bit through the left shoulder, maybe taking the gaze up towards the sky, towards that right arm. Inhaling and exhaling, switching sides. Breathing here. Taking the gaze wherever feels best for your neck. And releasing down from that. Switching the feet so that the heels are out now and the toes are in. And we'll hinge from the hips. Hands can come to the hips as we fold forward. Feel free to place hands on the mat, block, chair, whatever kind of props you have here to support you with. Right hand will place at center, left arm reaches up, And then we'll exhale, thread it through, taking that left hand over towards the right shoulder, and then inhale, reach it back up again. Taking that just a couple more times. Experiencing that range of motion through the shoulders, chest, upper back. And the next time it passes through center, taking that left hand down, reaching the right arm up. Hips stay pretty stable here, feet stay rooted as we take that range of motion now through the right arm as we thread it through, reach it towards the opposite shoulder, lift it open. And then maybe taking that another time or two and placing both hands down onto the mat. You can stay here if you'd like, or you can take your hands and lace them at the low back. Really melt down, press down through the big toe edges of your feet, and then perhaps take those laced fingers up and away from the low back. If that's not for you, hands can stay. They could come to the hips, rest on the hips. They could rest on the low back, or they can stay down, planted on the mat or whatever prop you're using. Really rooting down through the big toe edges of the feet. Elongating through the spine. And then replacing the hands. Nice and easy. You can heel toe the feet back together or step the feet back together. And make your way up to standing. We'll come up to the top of the mat now. Inhaling, reaching the arms up, finding as much length and space in the body as possible. And then as you exhale, arms can spread wide and we'll fold forward. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen, reach. Weight's a little bit more in the balls of the feet, chest is open. Exhale, soft knees, fold forward. Taking the right leg back into a lunge position. It's going to be kind of a lizard lunge kind of position. So you can heel toe that left foot out towards the left side of the mat. Right hand can be stable, and we'll reach that left arm up towards the sky. Take a bend in the elbow and take that left forearm so it's a little bit more square towards the mat. And then inhale, peel it back open, and exhale, take it so that it's a little bit more square towards the mat. Taking that at your own pace. If it bothers you to be down on, or if it bothers you to be up rather on the ball of the right foot, you could always lower the knee down. And then coming back to center, we'll take that left foot and heel toe it back towards center. And from here, feel free to come to all fours for a transition or step the left foot back to meet the right in downward facing dog. Finding stillness or finding a movement. If you like to pedal the feet, you could pedal the feet. Sometimes it's nice to bend and straighten the knees. Do whatever you'd like to do here. Child's pose is certainly an option here as well. And another opportunity to be grateful for your feet. Grateful for your hands as the fingers spread out. And then coming to the knees for your transition or not, we're going to come to plank on the knees or not. Crown of the head reaches forward, tailbone and heels reach back, belly hugs in. And then on the knees or not, all the way down to the mat. Untuck the toes, inhale up for cobra, And exhale, lower down. Opportunity to come into Sphinx here. With Sphinx pose, elbows are right underneath the shoulders. Forearms are rooted down onto the mat. And the forearms can kind of traction, elbows contraction back as the heart reaches forward. Pubic bone presses down a bit, tailbone reaches back towards the heels. Legs are engaged, making sure there's no strain in the low back. And then we'll tuck the chin a little bit, keeping the chest and shoulders open. Take the right ear gently over towards the right shoulder. Come back to center over towards the left shoulder. Keeping those shoulders pretty stable as you move, just kind of rotating the head and neck, being kind to any twinges or range of motion limitations that are painful. Respecting that space. And then tucking the chin down towards the chest and lifting the chin up slightly, continuing to keep the chest open. And then taking it back down to neutral. And from here, you can press back to child's pose, or you could come into downward facing dog. I kind of like child's pose after that one. I think it feels nice on the low back, just really elongating, lengthening, big toes together, knees apart, feeling that sense of tractioning as you reach the fingertips as far as they'll go. Melt the forehead down towards the mat. And then maybe walk the hands out towards the right and out towards the left. Maybe taking that a few times or maybe pausing. And then eventually you can stay in child's pose or eventually meeting in downward facing dog. And from here, coming to all fours first or not, we'll take that right foot forward, and you can step it if you want to, just outside of the pinky edge of the right hand. So you're in more of that lizard lunge position. And then lowering down on the left knee or keeping it elevated, whatever you did before, whatever feels good here. Taking that right elbow skyward as if you were maybe like pulling a bow and arrow or something. And then taking that right forearm down towards the mat so it's parallel, reaching that right elbow, and then taking it back parallel. Just taking that range of motion through the upper back. Continuing to breathe with movement, inhaling and exhaling. And then eventually heel toeing that right foot back towards center, and we'll step left foot forward to meet the right for our halfway lift. Elongate the torso, weight is in the balls of the feet. And exhale, fold. Knees can be a little straighter or a little bit more bent, whatever feels best for you right now. And then rooting through the feet to rise, inhaling all the way back up to standing, and exhaling, releasing arms back down to your sides. Inhaling, reaching the arms up, and exhaling, folding forward. From here, you can take your hands, if it's okay with your shoulders, and lace them at the low back, and then reach those arms, those hands up and away, kind of towards the sky. Take a bend in your left knee, and then rotate your left shoulder kind of over towards your left knee as you straighten the right and take your gaze towards the right. Pulling the right shoulder and the right hip away from one another and getting that rotation through the chest. Coming back to center and then switching sides, bending the right knee, taking right shoulder towards right knee and opening left. Head is heavy, spine is long, and then bending both knees, coming back to center, releasing the arms. And we're going to take, you can do this from this position, or if you want to come to standing first, you can. We're going to take the left foot back for warrior one. So warrior one, legs a little bit wider than heel to heel alignment, left toes angle up towards the left corner of the mat. We're plugging that back foot in. Glutes are engaged, hamstring muscles are engaged on that left side. And we're going to take the hands to the shoulders, elbows reach back, and we'll exhale, push the hands away, and then inhale, pull the hands back in. Exhale, push away, inhale, pull back in. Taking that a couple more times. Excellent. And from there, if you'd like to, you can take opposite hands to opposite shoulders. If you're okay with eagle arms, we're going to take the left elbow under the right for eagle arms. If you don't want to do either of those, you could take goalpost arms, or you could take your arms up towards the sky or keep them at your sides. We're going to have the opportunity here to come into a humble warrior variation. And again, just like everything else, you can decide if it's for you or not. I'll walk us through it. We'll inhale, fingertips up towards the sky, maybe gaze up towards the sky. Keep that back foot plugging in, and then begin to round the spine, taking those eagle arms kind of down. You can take them down to rest on something, or they can hover above the mat. Keeping that bend in the right knee, allowing the head to be heavy. And if you don't like this, you can take hands to the hips, or you could take hands to lace at the low back, more of a traditional humble warrior. This is a variation to try. Reaching that right outer hip and right outer knee to stay stable. And then we'll inhale all the way up, coming back up to just a regular warrior one. Hands can come to the hips, and you can take your stance a little bit closer. We're going to transition here to warrior three. So warrior three, feel free to keep that big toe planted, lean forward, or maybe elevate that left foot, the big toe up off of the mat, and start to hinge forward a little bit more. Take your hands to support on anything that you would like. Or they could come to heart center, or they could reach forward. And then trying to keep that balance on that right foot, we'll swing that left leg all the way forward and hug the left knee in towards the chest. Standing up nice and tall. And then replacing that left foot, coming back to neutral standing. Hands could come to the hips if you'd like, or you can keep the hands at the heart, and we'll take that right foot back now to warrior one, rotating the chest forward, plugging the right foot down. Hands can come towards the shoulders as you reach the elbows back, palms of the hands forward, and we'll exhale, push away, and inhale, pull back in. Pressing and pulling, feeling the shoulder blades spread apart and scrunch together, feeling the chest opening. Taking that a few more times with breath and at your own pace, exhaling, pushing away, inhaling, pulling back in. And then from here, again, opposite hands can come to opposite shoulders, or if you'd like, this time we'll take right elbow under left for eagle arms. Fingertips reach up towards the sky. Maybe the gaze comes up, a little kind of chest lift here or spinal extension. Actively plugging the right foot down onto the mat. And then taking that into whatever humble warrior variation you'd like. So if you want to do the eagle humble warrior, keeping those eagle arms, tucking the chin. Options to have hands down on the mat or the chair, hands at the low back, hands at the hips, or keeping those eagle arms, squeezing the shoulder blades apart, tucking the chin a little bit, getting that stretch in the upper back. And inhaling, sweeping those arms up for regular warrior one. And release the arms down, roll the shoulders back a couple times. Take your stance a little closer if you'd like, and we'll come into warrior three. Keep the big toe planted down or not. Frontal hip points are both kind of attempting to angle down. Crown of the head reaches forward as that right heel reaches back, and any arm variation here is fine. Neck is long. And then if you can, maintain that balance, taking that right knee and hugging it all the way through. If you want to take an ankle circle or two, feel free to do that. And then releasing from that. We're going to find the feet about hip width distance apart. Nice neutral standing position. And feel free to hold on to anything you want to. We'll rise up onto the balls of the feet. Just like there was a string being taken from the ceiling, pulling you directly up and then lowering down. Taking that at your own pace. And if you're not holding on to anything and you want to reach the arms up and lower the arms down, go ahead and do that as well. Can tell that I haven't done this one for a little while. It's a little more challenging than what I remember. And then taking that one more time, inhaling up and exhaling all the way down, lowering down from that. We're going to make our way down to the mat, and we'll just come over onto one hip or the other. We're going to do both hips. I'll start out here on the right side, but feel free to do whatever is best for you. So we're just going to do a couple side leg things. You can be up on your right forearm or you could be down on your right hand. I'm going to take my heels together, toes apart, and just take the legs open and then draw them together. Just a little kind of clam exercise for the core and for the outer hips and glutes. Taking that one more time and then drawing them together. Here we're going to lift the heels up off of the mat, and then from there opening and closing the legs. Utilizing the core, trying to keep shoulders and hips, back body pretty steady up through here. And last time, opening and drawing together. Releasing from that, and we'll switch sides. So keeping the heel, that bottom heel planted for now, we'll lift and lower the top one. And as best as possible, trying to keep the heels together. And if that means the range of motion is a little smaller, that's totally fine. Working the core and the outer hips. Taking that a couple more times. And then letting the knees stack, we'll elevate the heels, keeping the heels up and lifting and lowering that top leg. Keeping that bottom leg rooted, taking this just a couple more times. And releasing from that, you can roll onto the back. Find a happy baby pose if you'd like to, or hug the knees in towards the chest. Sway side to side if you want, or find stillness. And then release. The left foot will cross the right ankle just on top of the left knee. Encourage that right inner thigh away from you. Stay here if you'd like, or reach around, grabbing a hold of the back of the left leg. Continuing to try to reach the right inner thigh away rather than letting it buckle in too much. If your head or shoulders are straining, tuck something underneath the back of the head. If you find that you're rolled way over onto the left hip, see if you can kind of even that out so weight is even on the low back. Some people like to straighten the top leg here. That's kind of nice sometimes. Something to try. And then from here, you can either uncross the legs, or if you want to keep them in that same configuration, you can take everything over to the left, reach the right arm out towards the right, and take your gaze out towards the right. And come back through to center. Release from that and cross that left ankle just on top of the right knee. Encourage the left thigh away from you. Staying there if you'd like, or hug around to the back of the right leg. If you want to take a little sway, take a little sway, or find stillness. Make sure that your head and shoulders are supported. If you want to straighten, you can with that right leg. Some people really like that. Breathing into tightness, not forcing anything, but knowing that it's okay if it feels a little intense, not painful. And then from here, if you want, you can uncross, or you can take the whole configuration over towards the right. Take the gaze out towards the left. And gently coming back to center. Take any other movements or stretches or adjustments that you would like to take. And then eventually coming back to a comfortable, supportive position. Checking in with yourself. Is that seated, lying down, knees bent, legs outstretched? Offering yourself whatever feels supportive right now, whatever position. Just feeling the weight of the body on the surface underneath you, the points of contact. If it feels nice to rest the attention there, rest the attention there. Otherwise, take the attention to the breath, focusing on experiencing the breath as it's happening from the inside out. Sensations of breathing. If you'd like to say to yourself as you breathe in, breathing in. Say to yourself as you breathe out, breathing out. Allowing the attention to rest there. This is one that I've shared with you before. It's from Sarah Bessey. It says, the most fearless thing we can do is keep showing up with love and with grace in our real right now lives. So perhaps taking a moment or two with those words. Feel free to continue to rest, or if you prefer to start to bring some movement into the body and come up to seated, you could do that as well. But please rest as long as you'd like. I want to thank you all so very much for sharing your practice and sharing your positive energy with each other and with me. Namaste.